the Madman.
Welcome to the custom cards of the week of the month this time around. And by the way, this custom cards of the week of the month does take the best cards of the last month because it's been a month. Starting with Corpsepult, this is a little bit of a current event because there have been recent movements in order to buff Unholy Death Knight. So Corpsepult is a 5-mana 4/6 2 Unholy Ruin Death Knight card. At the end of your turn, spend 2 corpses to deal 5 damage to the enemy hero. So Unholy Death Knight is currently not very strong, and this would make it stronger. It looks pretty powerful to have a repeatable deal damage straight to the face. I think that this card is both too strong and also may not be in flavor for Unholy. And by in flavor, I mean part of their design philosophy. I'm gonna give this design 4 stars, balance 4 stars. Design wise, I feel like Unholy should not be able to deal damage to face while not having stuff on the board. This basically guarantees 5 damage straight to the face. Just have some corpses in the graveyard. And it's a way to spend corpses, which is in flavor for Unholy, but I do think that Unholy decks do want to have a swarmy feel, and you actually need to use the swarm to kill your opponent, not like direct damage. Balance-wise, I think it's a little bit strong. It surprisingly may not be that strong because Unholy Death Knight is not really too much of a factor at the moment, but what would be ways to tone this down? 5 damage is a lot. 2 corpses isn't a lot. You could raise the corpses, you could lower the damage, you could do both. Something like that. Next up, we have the Trump card of the week. Whoa! It's Balthazar the Traitor. 5-mana 6/6 legendary demon. Start of game, if this is in your deck, your opponent draws it. The reason why I said whoa is because this is only the 9th highest rated card of the month in terms of custom Hearthstone Reddit. And I do also feel the need to clarify what happens with this card, which is possibly why there was such contention in both Reddit as well as my Twitch chat when I revealed it. So if this card's in your deck, your opponent will start with it in their opening hand without requiring losing a draw. So the opponent will be up a card. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. So the idea of this card is that you get to start off with a 29 card deck, which has been a common recurring theme of custom Hearthstone cards. Like, that's a general no-no in design, because if you're going to start with a 29 card deck, you better actually have a handicap because of it. And this is actually a handicap, and it's very flavorful because Balthazar is a traitor. That's kind of cool. And it's a 5-mana 6/6, which is not a very powerful card in Constructed. People who just say, 5-mana 6/6, no one would ever play that. Sometimes you will have 5 mana and no good play on 5, and then you'll slam Balthazar down on turn 5, and it'll be a 6/6. And that's actually a worthy turn. There were suggestions like, isn't that too weak? Shouldn't it be more stats for the cost so it's not absolutely nothing? And I think this is totally fine. Only in the most extreme combo metas would having 1 fewer card in your deck be worth having your opponent start off with an extra card, I think. But maybe you do want that option to be playing such a dedicated combo deck that you only want to run 29 cards and you're willing to pay the price. Given how much controversy this card caused in my Twitch chat, I didn't really think much of it, but the fact that a lot of people would think it's insane, it makes me think, okay, maybe this card is actually worth printing, and then, any card causing that much debate is pretty good. Next up, we have Sema the Wise. 2-mana 2/3 Battlecry. Guess which card Sema is thinking of to add it to your hand. What does that look like? Well, let's take a look. Clue. In the dungeons I go deeper. In set reviews, I was a sleeper. When minions die, I get cheaper. Which card is it? If you pick it, you get it. In my 2.0 version, I can finally aim. I've got no time for this silly game. Good stats for the cost. Design 1 star, balance 5 stars. The amount of effort needed to come up with, a clue for every single game in Hearthstone is probably a lot. So that's a little bit impractical. Balance-wise, this is effectively a 2-mana 2/3 battle cry. Add a random card to your hand. I think it's a humorous card, but obviously this card showcases there's some things that are just too high labor intensive in order to work. There was an idea you could just use the flavor text, but again, this would probably just be too annoying because everyone would theoretically just look it up, and some people might be playing on some sort of device where they can't look it up, and that would be unfair. We got Death Knight Legendary here. Fabulo, the Rune Master, 4-mana 2/5. If your deck has no duplicates, it has 4 runes. Design 1 star, balance 2 stars. I think the card is too weak in terms of balance, but more importantly, the balance I didn't put that much thought into. I think the design is wrong. The Death Knight rune system is balanced around having only 3 runes, and it would be very poor form to break that rule so fast in Hearthstone, to print a card that lets you have 4 runes. Something like this might be acceptable in, 5 to 10 years, but definitely should not break such a fundamental rule right at the beginning. Milhouse, Crazed Genius. 4-mana 4/4. Start of game, gain 10 mana crystals. Your opponent's cards cost 0 this game. Design 1 star, balance 2 stars. Holy cow, that is absolutely ludicrous. I never thought that a start of game, gain 10 mana crystals effect would be balanced, but if your opponent's cards all cost 0, that does make it balanced. So this card's actually too weak. That's why I gave the balance a 2. It's for being too weak. The design is 1 because it's completely degenerate, and sometimes when you queue up with this card, maybe you're up against a super aggro deck with a curve that isn't over 4, and then they lose because they play their whole hand on turn 1, but you play a big guy, and then you play a big guy every single turn, and then they can't break through it, and that's really bad design. In the world where this is broken and everyone plays this is the dumbest meta of all time. So ultimately, it would probably just end up being never played. Way too impactful of a start of a game, essentially. Running Cadaver, a Death Knight 3-mana 4/4, undead. At the end of your turn, summon a 1/1 Corpse Fly to attack this minion. Design 5 stars, balance 4 stars. I was tempted to give this card the trump card of the week. I think it is very flavorful for there to be a corpse where there's flies swarming it and pecking away at it. And pretty much my only critique of this is that it's a little bit weak because it starts off as a 4/3 the turn it comes into play. Probably should be a 4/5 to start with. So this thing generates corpses and is reasonable stats for the cost, so to say. 3-mana 4/4, that's arguably good even. But it has the downside that it takes a damage turn, so balanced. Next, a Shaman card. Illegal Smuggler, 2-mana 2/2, Battlecry, summon a 0/2 totem with spell damage +1. Genius! This almost was the trump card of the week as well. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. I think the flavor is so good, it is smuggling a totem from the past, the good old spell damage totem. I think that it is a little bit weird to call it an illegal smuggler. Perhaps a better name might be Totem Hoarder, or something that references the fact that the totem is coming from the past somehow. I think the smuggler is a cute name, but perhaps doesn't describe the card well enough and requires like an inside knowledge of Hearthstone to know. Oh, also illegal smuggling. Yes, that was the problem I had with it. It's a very silly name. Mimic Form, a druid 2-mana spell. Choose a friendly beast. Your hero power copies its base stats and cost. Design 3 stars, balance 3 stars. I think it's a fundamentally flawed design because for a small amount of mana, you can change your hero power into basically win the game if you just press it each turn. Like, I kind of agree with that in the sense of that's what control decks and hero Death Knights and whatnot cards are meant to be, right? But you shouldn't just be able to press the button and win. And this is too often a case where you do just press the button and win. What's really gross is if you use it with certain beasts, such as the Hermit, that little 1 mana beast that can't attack, then suddenly you have 1 mana hero power, gain 4 attack, plus 3 armor. That's obviously insane. If you put it on the Shellfish, that's 4 mana, plus 7 attack this turn, plus 7 armor. So there are definitely cards that this just outright breaks with. Usually these beasts have a tremendous downside to justify their high stats for the cost. And this card gets around that downside by transforming the high stats for the cost into the hero power becoming extremely imbalanced. Return to Light. 2 mana Holy Death Knight card. Replace your class cards and hero power with Paladin ones. The cards cost 2 less. 3-star meme. It got some amount of chuckles, but not outright laughs. Maybe it's too similar to Renounced Darkness. So it's like, that was a good meme, but you just plagiarized Renounced Darkness. It's a little bit stronger than Renounced Darkness. Renounced Darkness was too weak, but still not good enough. Final most upvoted card is fittingly a Paladin card to end it up with. Moral Dilemma. 0 mana, summon a 1/1 Tiny Fin and a 1/1 Penguin. Your opponent equips a 1/1 sword with can't attack heroes. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. Love it. This was very close to being the trump card of the week as well. The general idea is it's theoretically balanced because it's a 0 mana, get a 1/1 and deal 1 damage to the opponent. Because your opponent will just deal with one of those 1/1s with their weapon. So I like how the card evokes a really interesting situation. I think this does fit Paladin. The name is strong. It is a moral dilemma. What do you do with the sword? Do you attack the Tiny Fin? Do you attack the Penguin? But there are also ways to obviously abuse this, which is if the opponent has a weapon, it's really good. If you have a bridge location in play, it's really good. You get to stop the Demon Hunter potentially from killing you if you play it the turn before you think that they're going to do their big combo, since then they can't attack heroes. It's got a lot of interesting, like, small twists to it, which I find delightful in a card. And I think that this is a strong 0 mana card, but it is pretty creative, has a lot of edge case uses. The edge case uses are cool, and the card tells a really cool story. It's also very Paladin to have like an overstated card, but give your opponent a fair way to deal with your overstated card. I would choose the Penguin.